Hello, good evening. Welcome to Pulse of the Week on the 17th of October 2025. And we are live on our YouTube channels. My name is Kofi Asante Mensah, and this is NSG News. Welcome to the program. This is a program that brings you news updates from the Republic of Ghana, the center of the world, and also break the issues down with a discussion with experts and break the issues down for you here on NSG News. My name is yours truly, Kofi Asante Mensah, fiercely independent. And I must say, this is news with integrity. Just after this breather, we'll enter into our news update from Wednesday to today, Friday, the 17th day of October 2025. Please stay with me. After this breather, there's news update. Hi, and welcome back. It's your man, Kofi Asante Mensah, and we'll begin from the court because I must say the former Chief Justice, Torkornoo, has filed some case over there at the High Court, and we would love to bring that story to you. This is just coming through for about the past 3 or 4 hours. I must say between 2 or 3 hours, we got to know about this very story. So I have this update for you, and I have the story for you. So please continue to join us on our Facebook, our YouTube, and all our social media channels. And the name on our channel is NSG News. And here is the story. All right, so I'll be getting the story for you here on NSG News. This is Pulse of the Week, and this is Kofi Asante Mensah, bringing you the news update from Ghana and from major news update from the Republic of Ghana. I must say today is October 17th, 2025. October 17th, 20. Okay, I have the story here, and we'll begin from the court because former Chief Justice Torkornoo has filed a legal action seeking to stop the vetting and subsequent appointment of Justice Bafo Boni as the next Chief Justice. The application at the High Court seeks to quash all proceedings of the Justice Gabriel Scott Puaman Committee, established under Article 146, to consider petitions for her removal. The former Chief Justice also asking the High Court to set aside all proceedings conducted by the committee tasked with investigating petitions for her removal. She is also requesting that the presidential warrant that removed her from office be declared unlawful, null, void, and of no effect. We'll do some more stories for you here on NSG News Update with your man, Kofi Asante Mensah. And we'll have a story related to the National Secretariat Council, the NSS, because they were also in court. It's good to always begin in court. And the court has adjourned the case, but we have the details here for you. The Accra High Court has adjourned proceedings in the case involving former Deputy Executive Director of the National Service Secretariat Authority, National Service Authority, NSA, Gifty Owari Mensah, following her absence from court on Friday, October 17, 2025, after the court was informed that she had submitted a 2-day medical excuse. Also, a lawyer for the former Director General of the NSA, Osei Esibe Entry, who also appeared before the High Court on Friday, informed the court that his client had been instructed to report to police investigations in Kumasi and was currently there. And this is also an update from the court for you. I think we have a report on this very incident, and the report is ready. Let's go for the report.
First, there was an application by lawyers for Kwabena Dubois to the court to stay proceedings, as in put the trial on hold, because they were going to the Court of Appeal to appeal a prior decision of the High Court which prevented them from accessing certain disclosure materials. And so they wanted the trial to be put on hold. The judge said that application was meritless and threw it out. And so that application to pause the proceedings has now been dismissed, one. And then the second thing, major thing that has also happened in court has to do with the decision of the Attorney General to discharge or withdraw charges against Mildred Donko, the third accused person in this trial. We know that Mildred Donko has now become a state prosecution witness and will now testify against Kwabena Dubois. Although prior to yesterday, all of them had been put before the court for the criminal charges that have been leveled against them. And so today, the Deputy Attorney General, Justice Mensah, who represented the AG in court today, formally announced that decision to the court. But Samuel Atatian had an objection. His view was that the decision to withdraw the charges ought to have come by way of motion so that the court will make a determination on it. But the court reasoned that it is the prerogative and the discretion of the Attorney General to decide who to prosecute and who not to prosecute. And so when it comes to that, it is just a notice that is required and not a motion that will require the decision of the court. So this morning, two applications or two objections raised by lawyers for Kwabena Dubois, Samuel Atatian, all of them have been shut down and the proceedings are expected to continue. The court has just taken a recess for some documents to be properly laid out and then the trial will continue.
Well, Kweku, also the former executive director of the National Service Authority, Mr. Osei, and his deputy, Mrs. Gifty Onwari Mensah, are supposed to appear in the High Court today. Have you had what's the latest on that?
Well, yes, we know that this week the AG preferred charges against both the Director General of the NSC at the time, Mr. Osei and his deputy, for causing financial loss to the state for stealing, among others. We understand the cases will be called in the criminal court today, but in the afternoon, later today, perhaps between 1 and 2 p.m. As we speak, those two persons have not arrived in court as we speak. But the AG and his team are already here, obviously because they are handling another matter in another court. But as soon as this trial gets to an end for today, the Attorney General and his men and women will move to the criminal division of the High Court, where today the charges will be formally read to the former NSA boss and his deputy. We expect them to plead guilty, and then the bail conditions will be set. If they meet the bail conditions, they'll be released. If they do not meet it, they will stay in custody. The court will then also set a date for case management conference before the trial will start.
That's a big thank you to our brother from Multimedia Joy News, Kofi Asante, for that very report, special report. But we still remain with the court because the Accra High Court on Friday, October 17, 2025, refused an application by lawyers for Kwabena Dubois, the former Director General of the National Signals Bureau, NSB, to stay his criminal trial while an appeal of an earlier ruling runs its course. The defense had asked the court to suspend proceedings pending their determination of an appeal over a prior decision denying them access to certain disclosure materials. The High Court declined the defense's application for a stay of proceedings. That means the trial will continue while the appeal is heard. The appeal will not automatically halt the prosecution. We still have some more stories here for you, and we are learning the Prime Minister for Grenada is actually in the country, and he has been holding some bilateral talks and relations with the President of the Republic of Ghana, and we have that very story here for you. And they have been signing some OUs and indicating that this republic will be sending some nurses to the Grenada state, and this is the story. The Ghana has signed a memorandum of understanding with the government of Grenada to facilitate the recruitment of Ghanaian nurses to work in Grenada. The agreement aims to strengthen the health care systems of both countries while promoting cultural exchange and knowledge sharing in the medical field. Ghana's Minister of Foreign Affairs, Samuel Okudzeto Ablakwa, signed the agreement on behalf of Ghana, while his Grenadian counterpart, Joseph Andal, signed on behalf of Grenada during Grenada's Prime Minister Dickon Mitchell's visit to the presidency on Friday, today, October 17, 2025. President John Dramani Mahama noted that the MOU will help address the healthcare needs of both nations while supporting Grenada's health sector priorities. So that was the arrival and the visit of the Grenadian president or prime minister in the Republic of Ghana, as he was received by the health minister in that video clip you saw over there. And let's do some health-related story because Mr. Okoboy, who happens to be the former health minister, is calling on the current health minister to do some few things. Let's pick the story now. And it says, former health minister Dr. Bernard Okoboy has called on the incumbent Minister of Health to provide a full and transparent update on the status of all hospitals under construction as part of the Agenda 111 project. Speaking at a press conference briefing in Accra on Thursday, October 16, 2025, Dr. Okoboy accused the current administration of failing to continue hospital projects initiated under the previous New Patriotic Party's administration or government, warning that the neglect of these facilities is undermining Ghana's healthcare system.
Agenda 111 Health Infrastructure Project was a part of the erstwhile NPP government health policy to build a hospital in each district and region to improve healthcare in the country. Former Health Minister Dr. Bernard Okoboy alleges that not a single project under the initiative has been completed since the current administration took office. He says the stalled La General Hospital is significantly affecting healthcare delivery in the region.
The Minister for Health recently said we have 74,000 health workers at home. With all due respect to him, health workers don't work in a market, they work in hospitals. These 30 hospitals can absorb at least 12 to 15,000 health workers immediately. The NPP administration, in the 2 to 3 years of Agenda 111 projects, paid a total of $347,174 million, approximately 4.86 billion in certificate. Agenda 111, the Kofi government, these are not loans. The revenues that NPP collected from you, it invested about 4.86 billion in these projects. Now, this is what it means. If this government neglects and abandons all these projects, 4.86 billion has gone into the ground.
Dr. Okoboy said government has also abandoned the light wave infrastructure, a system designed to provide health facilities with an easy online service for patient records, which was introduced under the NPP.
As we speak, over 20 million Ghanaians all have their details in that system. This initiative, which was paid for and executed by the NPP administration, is now facing some challenges. These unresolved challenges have disrupted some of the maintenance schedules for the e-health system. It has also forced some hospitals to start using the manual system.
An estimated 600 million Ghana cedis originally allocated for Agenda 111 projects in 2021. President Mahamad's administration is expected to generate over 1.7.
From health, let's do some energy stories here on NSG News Update. My name is Kofi. Asante, Mensah. And just a reminder, we are streaming live on YouTube. Our channel's name is NSG News TV. And you must add the TV to get us to watch live over there. Please leave some comments over there, and we're happy to read them for the rest of the world to hear what your opinion is on the subject we are treating for you here on Pulse of the Week with your man, Kofi Asante Mensah. Let's do some energy stories because the Minister for Energy and Green Transition, John Abdullahi Janapo, has disclosed that the government has successfully reached a new agreement with independent power producers, IPPs, expected to save the country about some $300 million. Speaking during an engagement with officials of the Volta River Authority, VRA, as part of a working visit, the minister underscored the need to depoliticize the energy sector, describing it as a critical national asset that requires unity and professionalism rather than political rivalry.
So far, this sector is experiencing some significant progress. We've negotiated with the IPPs, and based on the numbers I'm seeing, I'm confident that we can save a lot of money. And so far, what the IPP renegotiating team has done tells me that we are saving about $300 million from the IPPs. The previous administration did their bit. We've also come to improve on it, and that is what we ought to be doing. It's not always about politics. Let's sometimes put the nation's interest first. If we do it for Ghana. And so I don't care your political affiliation as you sit here. In 4 years' time, you will determine what happens. But before the 4 years, let's put VRA first, let's put Ghana first, and let's work and turn around this sector. This year's budget is giving us $28 billion, not for investments, but to pay energy sector shortfalls. If it continues like that, next year will be $35 billion. If we don't stop it, what it means is that eventually, energy sector shortfalls alone will consume the whole budget, and it's not sustainable.
Right, so that was Honorable Abdullahi Janapo over there talking about how Ghana is going to save some $300 million for this IPP or the energy sector. And we do some more stories over here for you because this is NSG News, Friday, 17th day of October, 2025. And this is Pulse of the Week. My name is yours truly, Kofi Asante Mensah. And Pulse of the Week comes your way every Wednesday and every Friday. Please join us every time, and you have good and good stories from the Republic of Ghana. Wherever you are, you get an update from us. We do a wrap of the week for you and break the issues down very much for your liking. Let's do some more stories, because President John Dramani Mahama has returned to Ghana after a 5-day visit or state visit to China, undertaken at the invitation of Chinese President Xi Jinping. He was welcomed on arrival at the Kotoka International Airport in Accra on Thursday afternoon by Vice President Professor Jane Nana Opoku-Agyeman. Watch this. All right, so you have it there. That's the President of the Republic of Ghana coming, and with the Vice President of the Republic of Ghana, Professor Jane Nana Opoku-Agyeman over there. And this is John Mahama being received warmly by the Vice President as Mahama returns from the 5-day working visit at that leadership So you can see it over there, sharing some pleasantries, and that's the President of the Republic being received by Vice President, Professor Jenano Pokwajaman, and that's it over there. I was asking. All right, so that's the president, John Dramani Mahama. He's now in the country. He came yesterday, and he was received by the vice president of the Republic of Ghana, Professor Jenano Pokwajaman, and we are here to report that the president is back from China after 5 days visit. Now let's do some economy stories, because there is a forum up there in at the World Bank and the IMF office, and I must say, our finance minister, not the finance minister, the governor of the Bank of Ghana, must say, is over there and making some interesting revelations, and we are here to feed you in on that. Let's pick the story now, please. The governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Johnson Esiama, says Ghana's economy has made a firm recovery after years of instability, describing the country as being back on track following months of policy discipline and reform. He was speaking at the IMF World Bank Governor Talk Series in Washington, D.C. under the theme From Crisis to Confidence, Ghana's Journey to Macroeconomic Stabilization. Dr. Esiama reflected on the state of the economy when he assumed office.
OG Governor Dr. Johnson Esiama, speaking at the IMF World Bank Governor Talk Series, attributed the turnaround to prudent monetary management and stronger fiscal monetary coordination.
It's been 8 months since we came into office, and just as you said, we came to meet a challenged economy in the sense that, remember, we had the domestic debt, issue in 2022. Fiscal policy was highly expansionary. It led to us exiting the international financial markets. There was resort to domestic financing. You remember all the sovereign downgrades that we had to suffer. And so we came into office with lots of liquidity, high inflation, exchange rate that was, depreciating widely. But I'm happy to say that 8 months down the road, we have turned the corner. Ghana is back. Inflation, we met it at nearly 24%. Currently, it's down to 9.4%. We have seen a strong... This morning, when I checked, the market had picked up only $90 million. So 60 million automatically goes into our reserves. Same thing, Tuesday, we made available $150 million. The market's picked up less than half of that. So automatically, it goes, into our reserves. So we do not over-support the markets at all. All we seek to do is to limit the volatilities in the markets to ensure that we have that smooth, dynamics in the market. And that's the framework we'll maintain going forward.
All right, so you heard over there, and that's the governor of the Bank of Ghana. And he is indicating that if we do all things right, the Republic of Ghana would be able to exit the IMF program by next year, 2026. And I have that story also here for you. It says the Bank of Ghana Governor, Dr. Johnson Esiama, has assured that Ghana will be able to exit the current program with the International Monetary Fund, the IMF, next year. I'll just end it here, next year. So let's do the right things, and let's be able to end this very program by next year. But when we exit the IMF program, we have to remain disciplined, because for us, if they don't put the cane on us, on our neck, you have to do this right, we will sometimes go beyond budget allocations, and that is not good. We're going for a quick breather, and when we return, we'll do some more politics, because the NPP flag bearership race is on, and there is more to uncover for you. Please stay with me just after this quick breather. Your man, Kofi Asante Mensah, will be back with Pulse of the Week on NSG News. Please stay.
Get used to it. I have stepped into my new beginning. Yesterday is gone. Yesterday of darkness is gone. A whole new beginning. Yeah, 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 yeah. Get used to it. I've stepped into my new level. See me watching me flying on eagle's wing. A whole new beginning.
All right, so welcome back. It's still yours truly, Kofi Asante Mensah, here on NSG News. We are live, streaming live on our YouTube channel. My name is Kofi Asante Mensah, and this is Pulse of the Week. Let's do some more stories for you. When we are done with this very news update, we'll settle down with expert discussion, and we'll have some discussion on some carefully selected topics for you. Let's do this story, because the former chairperson of the National Peace Council, Most Reverend Professor Asante, has urged politicians to adapt to bipartisan approach in efforts to restore peace in Boko, cautioning them against exploiting the conflict for political gains. He was speaking with the media after an engagement with Boko indigenes residing in Asante region. Professor Asante emphasized that political interference continues to hinder peace efforts in the conflict-prone areas.
For me, this is very, very, very important, because many a time when we are dealing with issues of this nature, it's the men that we call. But I tell you, the women also have a role to play in the matter. After all, their husbands are the ones who are in the war front. Their children are there. And they also suffer when things are destroyed. When husbands are killed, they take responsibility for their homes and their children, and it becomes very difficult for them. So we thought it wise to engage the women. And what we are doing here is only a small beginning. It is my wish that what we have started here will actually grow, that they will be able to really come together, demonstrate publicly the unity that they have, because you heard them, they kept talking about the fact that we belong to one another. My mother is Kusase, my father is in the intermarriages. They keep talking about that. And some of our politicians, Ayaraga and others, they also belong to this intermarriages thing. So if the women will come together, even here in Kumasi, and demonstrate and show the oneness, not just in Kumasi, but even in Ashanti region, because I know that some of the people who came, some of them came from Asante Mampo, and some have come from different places. For us to demonstrate together that they are one, I do believe that is going to do a lot of things for the Boko Peace Initiative. Other women in different regions will also take a cue from what they are doing, and they will then follow. So for me, this is very, very, very crucial. And I'm praying that it will not just be a day's wonder, that the zeal with which they have spoken and the commitments they have made, we will be able to push it further for us to see that unity, that oneness, that public demonstration of oneness, so that it will stretch, and touch the different regions and bring peace to Boko. As I've said, Boko's peace is the peace of Ghana.
Well, you also really concerned about the political element.
Yes.
How do we take that up?
The political element is a big problem, and I'm hoping that our politicians will stay away from, exploiting such situations to enhance their own party ego, if I may put it that way. Let the politicians understand that the peace.
All right, so you had Professor Asante over there, Emmanuel Asante, former chairperson for the National Peace Council. Let's talk about the Driver Vehicle Licensing Authority, because all vehicles in Ghana are to receive new number plates from April 1st, 2026. The Driver and Vehicle Licensing Authority, DVLA, has said all the new number plates are to be RFID compliant. That's radio frequency identification compliant. And this is the director. All right, so I'll have more for you, because the move is to ensure that a number plate can be digitally identified by scanning. This is to help with electronic and road toll management, speed camera reading, and many more. According to the DVLA, the introduction of new number plates for all vehicles will be done in phases with new registrations starting January 1, 2026. And the video is here now.
The background map you see is a map of the registration region. So if a vehicle was registered in Greater Accra, that is the map you see. Now you see a round circle there. That's case is for biannual renewal stickers. The law requires that we undertake biannual renewal of vehicle registration numbers. It is a way to identify which vehicles have been written off and which vehicles are still active in the database. Currently, if we give you the number of vehicles registered, that is cumulative. So there may be some vehicles within that number that are actually not on the road again.
How we are going to enroll it will let the public embrace it or reject it. And as I told you guys, or indicated to you earlier, we
All right, so that's the director over there, and this is the wrap of our major news update here in the Republic of Ghana. My name is Kofi, Asante, Mensah, and this is NSG News, news with integrity. And now we enter into the discussion segment, where we'll begin with the pollster, the executive director for Global Info Analytics. Mr. Musa Dankwa has joined me on Zoom, and a pleasure to have you, Musa. Good evening to you, sir. Musa, you may have to unmute if you are muted, please.
Hi, good evening. And thank you for having me.
Absolutely. It's a Friday, so I won't take a lot of your time, just a few minutes on your latest national tracker on some of the major events in Ghana, including that of the members of parliament. Let's go straight into action. You have the national tracking pool for September, and I've gotten it about over 100-page document. And where I'm so much interested in is the performance of the MPs, where I want us to more or less focus on. You indicated that respondents for that very survey or polls was some 9,497, and I noticed in your report that some 83 randomly selected constituencies were taken out of the 16 regions. Some 83 randomly selected constituencies were taken, and confidence in that very poll is some 99%, and some margin of error plus or minus 1.3. Mr. Musa Dankwa, please take me through what you mean by these polls when you say the performance of the, the performance of the members of parliament.
Thank you very much for having me. What we do is to visit constituencies every 90 days. And then we do ask them several questions regarding governance issues of the country, the performance of the president, the performance of the government as a whole, and a wide range of issues, including how they assess the performance of their own members of parliament. Now here, the idea is that people are able to, by whatever means, tell us overall how they assess the performance of their members of parliament. It gives you a snapshot of what the thinking is in those electoral areas we sampled. It is by no means the entire constituency, because it is not the focus of the survey to look at the entire constituency. But the samples that were deployed in that constituency, that's the view that we are getting. And over time, with several visits, we tend to get the kind of average feel of the people in the constituency. So overall, if you look at the data that we published, across the country, about 68% of voters assess the performance of their MPs as either excellent, very good, or good, which is over 2/3, quite high. And only 18% are rating them as poor or very poor. And for average performance nationally, it's about 14%. So it gives you a broad view of what people are thinking or saying about their members of parliament. And then also, if you look at this data across various regions in terms of how they perform or rate their own MPs, now you will find out that in the Borno East, about 83% of the people rate their MPs as excellent, very good, or good, followed by Upper West region, about 78%, Volta region, also 78%. So the top three is Borno East, Upper West, and Volta region. And then to the bottom, those regions that are rating their MPs quite low in terms of excellence, you have Savannah region, only 60% are saying they've done excellent, very good, or good. In Western region, it is 56%, and the Eastern region about 53%. So the lowest region, leading the lowest ranking for their MPs in terms of excellent performance is Eastern region.
That's quite interesting. Now, I want you to take me through when you refer to, if you like, performance of MPs. What are the indicators, or one would say the ingredients? I know you don't ask many questions from your respondents, but in your mind, when we say an MP is performing, what do you think would be the indicators these people you surveyed will be looking at before they would say he has performed excellently or averagely or poorly?
Look, there are the technical people who want to use a very complicated measure to assess MP's performance. Some use his work in parliament, works in the committee level, and so on and so forth. But to the voter who sees the MP, he sees the MP as what? Development agent. Because while the MP was campaigning, the MP was promising things. Will help you do A, B, C, D. And also, the MPs usually show up in programs, funerals, naming ceremonies, and all those public events. So when you ask the voter how he assesses the performance of the MP, he looks at the MP vis-a-vis these things that they publicly promised that they will do. And largely, those things doesn't include passing laws. So when you are talking to voters in the constituency, they look at the interactions he has with the MP, how regular they see him, how engaging that MP is, whether the MP has been championing their local issues in terms of pursuing interests for their roads or schools or any other things that needs fixing. He may not be the one fixing it, but he becomes a champion or advocate for those development. Once they see him do that, they tend to rate him very high. Now, if they don't see you doing those things, but you spend your time heavily in parliament, for committee level kind of things, they don't see that kind of activity. So for them, you're not doing anything. So we ask them to give us overall assessment, whether using their work in parliament, using their social interactions, using their advocacy, and so on and so forth. Overall, how would they assess the performance of the MP. And they will tell you what they think. I mean, people have said that you could have asked them about how they rate him on A, B, C, D, E. Yes, you can do that. But at the end of the day, you will still ask him, how would he overall assess the performance? And for us, we are focusing on the overall performance, which is subjective to the views of the voter, because it is that view that translates into actually voting for the person.
Mr. Musa, don't you think that even though they go about seeking for the votes of these constituents and go about promising, don't you think the mindset of our people, the constituents, the people, contradicts the work, the core work and mandate of a member of parliament to be in parliament and enact laws, make sure we have good laws for this republic? Do we have to look at the performance of the member of parliament with his social advocacy works and how much he spends at funeral, buying coffins and throwing party here and going out with people and all of that? Don't you think it's about time we educate the populace or the citizens about the role of the MP so they can rate the performance of an MP based on what he is doing in parliament?
Yes, certainly so. It is good to educate them. But how often do you hear these MPs on the campaign trail promising about passing laws? I have never heard any MP saying my work would involve doing this in the law, changing this law, in that law. I have never heard that. You hear them creating jobs. That's what they say in the campaign promise. We'll create jobs, we'll build hospitals, we'll do this. So based on what you promise them, that is what they will judge you on. So until they stop campaigning using these things, I think people will be right to judge them based on those criteria.
Would you consider a peer review of members of parliament, a pool that would peer review members of parliament to see the performance of this one is for the constituents, people on the ground, what Ghanaians are saying at Esiojamai, where I come from, okay, or here in Adenta, where I am working. But this one, it is among the members of parliament, 276, they peer review themselves by indicating to Global Info Analytics that this MP is doing well based on this committee job, etc. Would you consider something like this?
No, we don't have resources to do that. We focus on what we have money to fund and to help us to do our predictions. These are something that a group like Parliamentary Network can do. We don't want to take people's jobs. We are posters. We're not focusing on peer reviewing of parliamentary MPs and so on and so forth. That is the work of other entities who are better resourced, better funded to do that. We will stick with what we do, opinion polls and just opinion polls.
That's very excellent. Mr. Musa Dankwa, I thank you so much. And I don't know if you have something. There's more. I have to peruse your document so I can interrogate it well. But I don't know if you have something more to share with us with respect to this national tracker pool, this September national tracker pool you want to share with us, please.
I mean, basically, if you look at the data that we've just released, one thing that we can say is that MP's performance across board looks very good. You are able to see MPs who are getting cross-party support, supported by MPP voters, NDC voters, and floating voters. So you can see a lot of them are getting that kind of support. So it means that when you are doing something right, regardless of wherever you are, the people will see it and they will notice it and they will recognize you for doing that. So the time where we think the country is too partisan, I think is probably dwindling. We've seen a lot of people giving thumbs up for NDC voters who are not in their region, but in the MPP stronghold, and vice versa. In fact, the highest approval of NDC voters went to MPP opposition MP Etua East. And then the highest support for MPP voters went to NDC candidate. I think are catching off. So people are really looking at individuals and what they do, what they're contributing to their various constituencies and giving them marks accordingly. So they should work hard. And if they, the report shows that you are lacking in something, you have to find out and see what else you can do to improve your chances of retaining your seat.
Before you take leave of us, I understand I've been joined by security expert and social analyst, Mr. Ibad Ibrahim. Mr. Ibad Ibrahim, thank you for joining us. Good evening to you, sir.
And good evening. How are you? And good evening to my senior brother.
Good evening to you, Ibad.
Absolutely, sir. We are taking a good look at the Global Info Analytics, if you like, September National Tracker Poll they have done, and it's critical of the performance of members of parliament. I know you have gone through it and you've seen some few things. Maybe you have something to indicate to us as we have Mr. Mensah on the line before he takes leave of us. Mr. Ibad Ibrahim, please, you can have your bite now.
I would want to congratulate, as I do always, my senior brother, Mensah Dankwa. And there was a huge vacuum within the space he is operating in currently. And mind you, the ratings are hitting the roof. And I believe that the consistent work he and his operatives on the ground do every quarter is novel, and it keeps us updated. Usually, winning an election is seen as an event rather than a process. So if I were a political party, I would have info analytics as one of my kitchen advisors, so to speak. So kudos to you, senior. And then we are solidly behind you. The rhetoric in terms of why an MP wants to go to parliament has to change. When you look at first world countries, MPs are proud to tell the electorate that I sponsored this bill, I caused this to be done. But if your promise to people is that you will build roads, build boreholes and all that, what yardstick do you expect them to judge you by, if not the things you promised them? So therefore, it is important that as Mr. Mensah Dankwa and his team intersperse the months of the year with such profound and groundbreaking surveys, it is important that politicians will pluck some important pages from the body of work that is being done by info analytics. At first, the refrain was that let's brush aside the work of Mr. Mensah Dankwa, but they are beginning to understand that they need to take a moment and look at what this brilliant gentleman is doing. And I believe very soon, countries from across the sub-region will solicit the kind of expertise that, and then this is free consultancy for somebody to do 100-pager, and then it's available to the public. Elsewhere, Mr. Mensah Dankwa would be charging a lot of money. So whether NPP or NDC, I think they should take the findings of Mr. Mensah Dankwa in good strides, where the findings point out that there are some weaknesses. They should have the humility to learn. But I believe at some point, Ghanaians need to understand that legislators are not development agents. They are there to make laws. We are a democracy in progress, and I believe that at some point we need to understand that you can't promise people a goat and then present them a fowl, for example. You should make good on the things. And again, Mr. Mensah Dankwa makes a very good point. We believe in a politics of gallery. Were you at the funeral? Oh, Honorable, we didn't see you at my mother's burial. Honorable, when I was getting married, you didn't show up. An MP or a senator's work, a congressman's work goes beyond that. So we should encourage the MPs. I had an MP friend who is now a minister. He told me because of the torrential calls that were coming from his area, he had a dedicated person to respond to calls. So the express instruction was that receive every call, write down the details of the caller, and then a bullet point of the main substance of the person's concern. And he told me, and that arrangement he thought of did not last a day, because already there were whisperings from the constituency that, Honorable, when you wanted the post, you were dealing with us directly. Why do we have to deal with a third person this time round? But this is standard practice. It's just like saying you want to do a one-on-one with Mensah Dankwa. It's not possible, considering his schedule and all that. So we need to make Ghanaians understand that when somebody says I have delegated somebody, it means when you speak to the person, you are speaking to me. Yesterday, I gave a lecture to a group of chiefs in terms of how to resolve conflicts. And one Queen Mother told me that when they delegate people to go and represent them at their base, the sub-chiefs actually write their own names. So in future, when there are invitation letters, they don't go to the Queen Mothers or the chiefs that delegated them. The letters would then go to them. Then they would gradually be building clout. So there is paranoia, there is fear. Everybody wants to be everywhere at the same time. So I believe if an MP wants to delegate young professionals in his area that can tackle your engineering problems, your problems with scholarships, your problems with all, you don't need to see an MP actually. But if you want them to be at the council, that is why I believe that is the import of Mr. Mensah Dankwa's, points, that you may be working so hard in Accra, so hard. You may be excelling at the committee level, doing a lot of things at the plenary. But at the end of the day, your people will say, Honorable, you're too abamano no. I feel so that deficit of development will continue to be with us. But I believe Mr. Dankwa's work couldn't have come at a better time. And I believe that if we really have the humility, Ghana's democracy is going to grow as a result of info analytics works.
So, Mr. Mensah Dankwa, I have two questions for you. Mr. Ibad Ibrahim, I'll come back to ask you a further question based on what you have presented to us in your initial submission. Mr. Mensah Dankwa, do you get to advise politicians? Do they call you that come with your document and prefer this advice to us? Do you get to be contacted for some of these things?
We do get contacts, but we have refrained from advising. Otherwise, we'd be advising to opposing candidate. So what we do is just give you the data and look for advisors to advise you. By so doing, we'll not be in conflict. That's the first thing. So we don't advise.
That's amazing. My second question is, this very information as presented to us, the members of parliament, what should the best performing, the person who had excellent and the person who had poor performance, what should this person be doing with this data if you are a member of parliament and you get hold of this global info analytics data, having surveyed over 9,000 and some 83 constituencies, and your constituency happens to be a part of it, and you are ranked fairly or poorly or even excellent, what should the MP do with this information?
For those who are doing well, look, we didn't sample the entire constituency. It's a snapshot that we picked. For them to be rest assured, they could commission their own survey to understand broader picture and beyond what we have done, so they can do more of what they are doing best, if that is what people want. And for those who are not performing, they should also do the same thing and find out, why am I not performing? What are the issues? What are the challenges? What can I do? This is 10th month in Parliament. You have a long way ahead. You can make amends, make changes, and improve your performance in the eyes of your people. This is an eye-opener for both those who are leading or who are seen as top performers and those who are seen as underperformers. This is a guide. They can go to the ground, do their own survey, and understand better what is it that they can do.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mensah Dankwa. But Mr. Ibad Ibrahim, you spoke about what Mr. Mensah Dankwa indicated early on with respect to the social advocacy legs of the MPs, being the tools they stand on to campaign to get into office. You also indicated the Senate man will never talk about how many roads he would promise his constituents before they would vote for him. He would talk about bills and laws he's been able to help to pass to help the community. Going forward, Mr. Ibad Ibrahim, going forward, how can we change the mindset of our constituents to be able to duplicate what happens in the UK and the US and other beautiful democracies we so aspire to become.
Thank you, Kofi. Once again, Senior Musa Dankwa, thank you for your service to the country. We really appreciate the work you do. And we pray that you live long enough to continue to serve in this capacity. Okay, I suppose Musa is gone, right?
I think he's left us now.
Okay,
but that's fine. We actually finished with him.
Senior Kofi Asante, I think, look, the point you have raised should even be expanded further. Why would we move a president to go and commission a hospital or a road, for example? It's amazing. I've never seen Donald Trump stand by a ribbon to cut it in the name of launching or inaugurating a project.
Not at all.
What are the city council members doing? What is the mayor doing actually? And so my recommendation is that district chief executives are enough to inaugurate or launch any government project. And we lost, sons of this soil as a result of this lack of decentralization when they were going to attend an event. And that could have been government would have been ably represented by the Ashanti regional minister who was actually there. So you didn't need people to come from Accra. Right. So a lot of work needs to be done so that we really understand the mandate of our elected officials. And our elected officials should also understand the importance of delegating. But the fear is that if I delegate Kofi, Kofi's face will shine. Kofi is going to gain some clout. We have a situation where DCs and MCs don't see eye to eye with the MPs in the areas because the natural progression is that from MC, you want to be the MP for the area. So can you imagine if Accra gave a green light that all projects should be inaugurated by MCs? MPs would oppose that.
That's right.
So I think if you want to practice a governance system you have chosen for yourself, learn the ropes well. So that what we practice looks like what we claim to be practicing. But unfortunately, what we have currently now is a cash and carry.
All right, I think Mr. Ibad Ibrahim's video of Zoom is on pause now. Mr. Ibad Ibrahim, can you hear me? All right, so we'll be looking forward to that. I was about to ask if the indication by some institutions indicating clearly that democracy is on the down slippery slope in Africa or in Ghana. He agrees with that. And if he does, what can we do to further the prospects of democracy in Ghana and in Africa generally? Because I know his works are more scattered around the world, a lot of them here in Africa with respect to security. These are democratic security issues and conflict resolution issues and what have you. So I'm sure he's going to join us back so we can have more exciting discussion here on Pulse of the Week on Friday, 17th October 2025 with your man, fiercely independent, Kofi Asante Mensah. Mr. Frank Heyman, international media expert, a journalist for several years, worked with the BBC, etc. He would also be joining us pretty shortly for us to have further intellectual discussion. But let's do some few videos because we'll be having a discourse around it. You know, yesterday, the 16th day of October 2025, Mr. John Alan Kwadwo Kyerematen launched his party, and his parties, he started with a movement, contested the 2024 elections with his movement, but he contested as an independent candidate. Abu Sakara and ODK and all of them joined forces together to form that special movement. And after the election, they have gone round to register the political party, and they got their provisional certificate, And yesterday, they thought it fit to officially launch it. They did so under a new name. The new name you'll get to know. I'm sure you're even aware, United Party UP. That is questionable, but they have some pluses over there. And some people are threatening some legal actions already. But let's go for that very video which tells us about how the launch was done at the Coconut Grove Hotel here in Accra.
We Ghanaians are decent people and want to make sure that we bring decency into our politics. This is what we are looking for as the United Party. But what is our vision? I'm not even sure what our two big parties, what their vision is. I've not quite heard them articulating their vision. You see, what a vision does is to articulate the aspiration. What is the overarching goal that you are looking for? How are people going to measure you? So if you say that my vision is to become the richest man, then that is your aspiration. That is your goal. And so if by the certain date you are not the richest man, it means you have failed. So articulating a vision is very important. And this is a fundamental problem in Ghana. Do you recall any party that has articulated to you a clear, concise vision by which we can measure their performance? We want to change the dynamics. The vision of the United Party is to make Ghana the economic powerhouse of Africa by 2040. By 2040. And that is what we call Vision 2040. And we are branding this as the Paradise Project. So by 2040, if the people of Ghana, by the grace of God, install us in power, then we promise them that by 2040, Ghana will become a paradise. Now, you may articulate your vision, but what is it that you are going to do to realize your vision? That is what your mission is. And our mission as a party is to build a united, peaceful.
All right, so thank you very much. That's Mr. Kwejo Alan Chiramantin. Forgive me, John Kwejo Alan Chiramantin. They call him Alan Cash. Yeah, now he doesn't like you when you call him Alan Cash. I don't know if the cash is still there, but around John Kufuor's time, when I was still practicing as media professional, all right, we noticed he enjoyed that name very much. It was actually a household name. Alan Cash everywhere. Share, Alan Cash. All the posters were called Alan Cash, his name. If you are not John, you can't be president in Ghana. And he was proud he was John. And not to even talk about anything that he has a lot of money. He's called a cash man. Alan Cash visits you, you've got a lot of money. Well, we are getting back on Zoom to welcome back our guest, Mr. Ibad Ibrahim, because I have some few questions to ask him in relation to what we're discussing, Mr. Musa Dankwa's issue and his pools. And I was asking, Mr. Ibad Ibrahim, please welcome, sir.
Thank you so much.
Grateful. I was trying to find out how we can get hold of our democracy, because many indicate in several research that we are going down in terms of our democratic governance in Africa, even in Ghana, even as we pride ourselves of having become the beacon of democracy in West Africa or in Africa, we are even on the down spiral, and we are going down. Is democracy really helping Ghana, and is it helping Africa? If our core people, voters and electorates are not understanding that we have to look at the core job of the MP, not what he promises to do by way of his social advocacy jobs. If they don't understand it, then we are not going anywhere. Don't you think so?
But we are gradually getting there. I would want to tread on the path of cautious optimism, that things are beginning to change. We used to be so concerned about latter-day projects, Constituencies would be abandoned, cities and towns and villages would be abandoned. But just 2 months before an election, we throw in the heavy equipment to start doing some work. We've noticed in the past 2 or 3 elections that that last minute gimmick doesn't work with Ghanaians. So we are a work in progress in terms of really understanding the governance system we have chosen for us as a people. Kofi Asante, I don't see why an election day should be a public holiday. Yes, because it's not an Armageddon. It's not a do or die affair. In some places, you vote on your way to work or back from work, or during lunch break, you go and vote and go back to the office. But we live in a country where fortunes are made. Somebody said elections have consequences. Fortunes are made and people are reduced to poverty because of the outcomes of elections. So we need to demystify what process this is. It's just people presenting a resume to be given an opportunity to serve and not be served. And I believe gradually we are getting there. We are getting there gradually. The average voter can no longer be taken for granted. So we need to continue. I want to see more work being done, more visibility for the NCCE, National Commission for Civic Education. But we've put all the resources of the country in the bosoms of politicians now. Politicians decide how some of these constitutional bodies are well lubricated. To go to the villages and hamlets to educate people about our rights and responsibilities in this, governance system we have chosen for ourselves. Not everything national has to come from the lips of a politician. You need to get people who are seen as nation builders, development people who don't vacillate between the duopoly of NDC and MPP. Say that if we do this, it will help us as a country. But if the communication always comes from either the MPP or the NDC, then you are losing 50% of the population right from the get-go. Because if I'm MPP, I'm not ready to listen to anything NDC. If I'm NDC, I'm not ready to listen to anything touted as an achievement by the MPP. So the country is actually on one leg because of a lack of proper appreciation of the governance system we have chosen. It's good to hold government accountable. It's good to have a thriving minority. But when the advocacy of a minority group is more of a sabotage, then I have a problem. So we take 2 steps forward and many steps backward. And it won't help us. As young as we are, we've witnessed a number of elections. Ghana seems to be at a standstill, unfortunately, because of lack of mutual goodwill between those who always present themselves to leaders. So a lot of work needs to be done. How do we infuse appreciation of nation building and patriotism in our textbooks? At what point do people start to get exposed? I even some time ago, Kofi, made a proposition that universal suffrage at some point was age 21. But with time, the world got to know that younger people in their late teens should contribute to the decision-making of countries. And in most nations today, universal suffrage is at age 18. I dare propose that in this technological era, 16-year-olds sometimes are more exposed to ideas than some 40-year-olds. So I've made a strong case that Ghana should continue and should consider reducing universal suffrage or voting age to 16. Today, look at what 16-year-olds are doing with computers, what they are doing with social media, the exposure they have now. When I was in Legon, you had to go to the BAM library to get your hand on the most basic idea in the course you are doing. But today, at the press of a button, you can have, in fact, you can even learn ahead of what your lecturer will give you for the whole academic year. So I am advocating that in the next, few cycles of our elections, we can consider giving 16-year-olds the opportunity to be part of. And the idea that you should be 40 years before you can run for president, I think is an archaic form of an idea. If you are a 25-year-old and you are sharp enough, you are patriotic enough, you can serve as president. The future belongs to the young, Kofi. So these are the propositions we are making as we call for a consolidation of the fundamentals. We need to look at some of these reformative ideas as well, sir.
That's very true. This report from Mr. Mensah Dankwa indicates clearly, and it says, I think they asked the question about whether or not you want young people to lead you as a Ghanaian. And I saw the green. It was well over 80% green people. Young people want young people to lead them, and that's so obvious. And I was going to make a mention to you that we are still having the Constitutional Review Committee as set by His Excellency the President of the Republic when he assumed office. He set this committee up, led by Dr. H. Kwesi Prempeh, if I remember. Yes, H. Kwesi Prempeh. I've gone there, and some other colleagues of mine have also been there. Don't you think when we review this 1992 Constitution, to have a new Constitution, or even, I was even telling them we should even write a new Constitution. If we review it and we have election for the MMDCEs, constituents will appreciate the work of MPs separately from the municipal, metropolitan, municipal, and district.
Look, I'm beginning, Kofi, I'm tempted to believe this idea of constitutional review could be a charade. The person you mentioned was the boss of CDD Ghana some years ago. And those times I was practicing in diplomacy. I was with Ambassador Bruga, former Swiss ambassador to Ghana. And I was seated with him. And then he pointed to a bulky, document. And he was full of praise for CDD Ghana for the quality of work they did and the assistance they gave the country in the constitutional review exercise sanctioned at that time by Professor Mills. And it was the era of John Dramani Mahama at that time. I asked myself, what percentage of that has been implemented? So that's the million-dollar question. Are the politicians malleable? Yesterday, in my lecture to chiefs, a Queen Mother told me, I asked, how much are you paid when you attend meetings at the houses of chiefs, the regional houses of chiefs? She says you are paid a paltry 1,200 cedis.
Can you say that number again?
A paltry 1,200 cedis as your allowance as a chief for attending an event, a meeting of the regional house, any regional house of chiefs. And that even with that, you have to take it sometimes cumulatively after every quarter. But chiefs are the custodians of our lands. And so why do we emasculate all other people and fully resource one profession? Being a politician has now become the most elitist profession in this country. First, you had to be an engineer, a medical doctor, a journalist, or something to be respected. But now you have to be a politician to be respected, actually. Professionals now need the buy-in of politicians before anything gets done in this country. So why do we train our lenses on one profession? I thought they said being a politician was a volunteer kind of work. That is why you are not paid, because you should be a volunteer. But today, it is becoming an Ivy League profession, a creamy profession, a profession meant for the creme de la creme of our society. And look at the number of lawyers we are churning out. And I dare say the motivation for a good number of people, I can't speak for all, to do law is that you have gravitas when Esquire is added to your name when you go into politics.
I don't think you want to discourage me because I want to do some law.
Please do law, Kofi Asante, and be the veteran journalist you are. But please, nose around and ask people who opt to do law now, they tell you law is the profession of a politician. So now people are happy to be called lawyers, and then they feel they will have gravitas. And when people contest in elections to go to parliament, when you are a lawyer, you are presented in a much better way than when you are not. So a profession that was a bit exclusive is now become saturated. It has become saturated now. What cases can all the thousands we are churning out prosecute? You end up being a politician. And so I believe the sum total of what I'm saying this evening, Kofi, is that we need to do an introspection. Other countries choose other systems. The UAE has chosen a monarchical system. Dubai is beautiful because it is ruled by a king. Other nations have chosen socialism, communism. China is doing so well because it chose communism. We chose a certain governance system from our Western partners. Can we tweak that system to fit, our African outlook? Are we swallowing hook, line, and sinker what has been bequeathed to us? And even if it has been bequeathed to us, are we doing it right? There needs to be a lot of public education in that regard, Kofi. So I agree with you.
That's quite amazing. And if the Constitution won't be the best option.
No, Kofi, I don't even know whether they gave you a good welcome. I don't know when you got to the secretariat. Being young in this country is now a disadvantage. They will, if you are lucky, people will listen, but they will brush aside your ideas. If you are not,
it's true.
Bad for the NCC. I feel so bad for the NCC. Kofi, the work we do elsewhere, we are ready to present that expertise to our country. The NCC wanted me to do something in the area of countering violent extremism in Choco. And I showed up. It was a good event. We interacted with the community people there. But the NCC was struggling. Is it a deliberate ploy by somebody to completely incapacitate the NCCE so our people will continue to wallow in, I don't want to say ignorance? They will not be abreast of the latest. They will not be well aware of what their rights are, so they can take their own pound of flesh from people who are paid 10 times, 20 times than the average civil servant. So I don't know whether it's a deliberate ploy by some people who have sat in a room to decide this is what we want to do. In the 90s, when we were growing up, the NCC, it was visible. It was visible and active. You didn't have to meet a politician all the time to hear about Ghana. You could meet other citizens. But today it has to be party A or party B, or your idea will be tucked under your pillow for good. Ideas never fly until you put them under the umbrella of party A or party B. And we see returnees, people coming from elsewhere in the world with a lot of expertise. They come and they live quietly till they die. Because the person makes one public utterance or another. Look at somebody of the gravitas of Sam Jonah. Sam Jonah spoke the other day, and he was, heavily criticized by young people. Heavily criticized. People begin to question your credentials, your credibility, and all that. Just because you say Ghana is moving in a wrong direction, so I advise we move in the other direction. Speaking up has had to come at a cost for some of our professionals. So we leave everything to politicians. So we look up to the Constitutional Review Commission. This time round, we hope the commission's findings will have the biting teeth. But he who pays the piper calls the tune. Who has put together the team is the politicians. And then who will pay the allowances? Who even resource the commission to do its work? It's the same politicians. Will there be a time where we have, groupings that are independent and self-funded to be able to speak truth to power. Today, if the president likes, he can decide that he's going to do a complete redo of the Constitutional Review Commission. He can decide that all of them should go home. He will constitute another team. So that is the irony of the situation. So the one you are to correct holds so much power, your work cannot even get off of the ground if he decides. It's a paradox.
All these problems we are sharing this evening, maybe the gentleman who launched his party yesterday has the solution for all of this. He is coming in, Alan John Kwadwo, coming in to indicate that his new party, United Party, taking this name from the tradition of the New Patriotic Party, the party he has resigned from. Maybe after over 30 years, I must say, of practicing or changing governance from NPP, first NDC to NPP, to NDC to NPP, now NDC. Maybe the United Party belonging to Alan Kwadwo Kyerematen can do all that you are saying to us this evening. Don't you think so?
No doubt. Honorable Alan Kyerematen is a man of ideas. And Chief, they call him Chief. Chief is a highly respected person locally and internationally. But recent realities have shown that in Ghana, ideas alone don't fly. We saw Dr. Abosank with the great, ideas he had when he ran on the ticket of the CPP. Solid ideas that would transform the country in no time. But unfortunately, ideas that don't fall under the umbrella of the NDC or the MPP will remain ideas you will tuck under your pillow. We've seen people pass through. We've seen our own fellow young person, Cheddar, come with great ideas. Ideas, I believe, and many, I believe, also believe could, do magic for the Republic of Ghana. So, Chief Alan Kyerematen is a highly respected person. He is one of the politicians you can hardly attach any kind of a foul play, foul language, incendiary commentary to. He's a fine gentleman. But look at how he performed in the last election. They say coming events always cast their shadows. He had a paltry 0.28%, less than 0.5% of the total votes cast. So he's talking about a vision for 2040, which is only 3 election cycles away from now. How do you build from 0.28% to even 5% in Ghana's election?
Not to talk of 50+1.
So you can imagine, maybe his ideas may even outlive some of the current leaders of his political party, which he has just formed. And so, great ideas. He's talking about suspending mining for a year to tackle galamsey, because nature is such a wonderful thing. If you leave it on its own, it can correct the wrongs, the mistakes that have been done. It can recycle itself. Our water bodies will be clean again, even if we don't do anything to reclaim what has been lost. So a hiatus, a pause in mining for a year, as has been proposed by Chief Alan Kyerematen, can do magic. Right. But these ideas, unfortunately, for somebody who got just a few tens of thousands of votes to get 6 million to rival the MPP or NDC, that's going to be a long shot, unfortunately.
Mr. Ibad Ibrahim, we have to leave it here. I know it's Friday. We have to spend some time with family. The weekend is also at the corner here. So Friday evenings, we don't take hold of guests for quite that long time. And you spend some time with us. We appreciate it so much. I'd love to say a very big thank you. And thank you so much for being there for us. Every time we knock on the door, you open it for us. We are so grateful.
You're most welcome as always, Senior. You're most welcome. And thank you and the team as well. Thank you.
All right. So, viewers, that was a security a regular security and social analyst. And he's a security expert and consultant as well. His name is Mr. Ibad Ibrahim. Early on, you heard and saw the man, Mr. Mensah Dankwa, Executive Director for Global Info Analytics. And my name is Kofi Asante Mensah. Just after this breather, we'll come back to do a proper wrap of the show for you. Please stay with me. Hi there. What number is this? 3, right? All right. It's time for NSG News. Welcome. My name is Kofi Asante Mensah. And here at NSG News, you'll get serious documentary to watch, news, reviews, views, and what have you. Because we have Pulse of the Week and also exclusive on the hot seat. On NSG News, we say news with integrity. Hi, welcome back. My name is Kofi Asante Mensah. This is Pulse of the Week on October 17th. It's Friday, 2025. And it's always a delightful experience coming your way with Pulse of the Week here on NSG News. And we have served you with the news update and some insightful discussion here on Pulse of the Week. We brought you stories around in Ghana, major stories, I might say, from politics to economy to social and everything. I believe we've served you well this evening. Thank you very much. And a big thank you to our executive producer, Mr. Aim Liquid. Thank you so much for being there for us. And to Ziba. Oh, come on, we have to promote Ziba. Ziba, you are so good. Yesterday, we were watching a lot of your videos here at NSG News Hub here in Amahia, in Accra, Denta. We were watching a lot of your videos, and we are coming in to push you very, very strongly. Thank you. God bless you, Ziba. A big thank you to my boss over here. His name is Justice Kluche. Mr. Kluche, JK, God bless you. And going out to you, the man, Kofi Berry, also known as Kofi Q. Thank you. My name is Kofi Asante Mensah. On behalf of this lovely production team and camera team, PCR and MCR team, we say God bless you. We'll meet again.